In 1903, on the plains of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, this history began. In the granddaddy of all modern planes, the Wright brothers won immortality by sustaining flight in a heavier-than-air flying machine. There is no fuss or ceremony, no cheering crowds. The motors sputter and catch, weights drop, the ship catapults off the ground into the air for the first flight on record. Since then, aviation history is written in a never-fading book of records. In 1928, a Lockheed Vega, the well-known Yankee Doodle, reaches New York from Los Angeles in 18 hours and 58 minutes. At the controls are Colonel Arthur Gobel and Harry Tucker. In 1929, Captain Frank Hawks climbs aboard his Lockheed to set a new transcontinental mark. Good luck, Captain. New York is only 3,000 miles away. Off on his way to a new record, one of the many he is to establish in the years that follow. Into the cockpit of his Lockheed Sirius climbs Colonel Charles Lindbergh. Mrs. Lindbergh is with him. Flying together, as always, they are heading from Washington, D.C., across the Bering Sea to Japan. A perfect landing after almost half the world has rolled by beneath their wings. Cheers and waving flags as Tokyo greets them. That same year, 1931, Ruth Nichols lands her Lockheed Vega after establishing a new feminine altitude record of 28,743 feet. Nice going, Miss Nichols. 1933, a famous Lockheed, the Winnie May, carrying a famous flyer, comes home from a solo flight around the world. What an achievement for Wiley Post. First man to fly around the world alone, and first to fly around the world twice, both times in a Lockheed. Colonel and Mrs. Lindbergh are starting on another and perhaps their greatest journey. A 29,000-mile survey flight from New York to Labrador, Greenland, Iceland, Europe, the Azores, Africa, Brazil, and return to New York. 1934 finds Sir Charles Kingsford Smith, together with Captain P.G. Taylor, completing a 7,000-mile trip from Australia to Oakland, California. It is the first crossing of the Pacific from west to east, and Sir Charles, in his Lockheed Altair, the Lady Southern Cross, has made it in less than 55 hours. This great flyer and great plane certainly deserve congratulations. In 1935, Amelia Earhart flies her Lockheed from Honolulu to Oakland. She is the first woman to make a solo flight over the Pacific, covering the distance in 18 hours, 16 minutes. The crowd hails her for an outstanding performance. 1938, Howard Hughes hurries to his plane for the start of his race around the world. 3 days, 19 hours, and 9 minutes later, his Lockheed brings him back to New York and a new record. In less than 4 days, he saw 5 sunrises, and the plane actually beat the revolution of the Earth on its axis. Records and more records, and these are just part of a long list. But exciting as they are, they mean nothing to the true goal of aviation unless the experience gained is applied to further the speed, safety, and all-round performance of air transportation.